I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks. I'm wondering what I'm going to be coming back to. Let's see what this man thinks. You know him, 105.7 The Fan, Orioles Hall of Famer, the Be More Baseball podcast, the League of Dreams, Baseball Warehouse. He might, my God, he's just standing outside the door right now, like going door to door. He's probably going to be running for office at some point. Does everything. Mike Bordick, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Oh, I'm good, brother. Hey, I'm unfortunately not doing stuff at the Baseball Warehouse anymore.
I'm sorry. I screwed up.
Individually, that's okay. Individually. So if anybody has my number, give me a call. I'll give you a lesson. So that's how that kind of stuff goes.
I'm sorry.
But,
I'm so used to going through the whole rundown, Mike, that sometimes I forget.
Oh, I know, but I appreciate it so much, man, because, first of all, I love being active in the community, and we do. The League of Dreams is going so well right now. A lot of great things happening for our special needs population. And, of course, the Be More Baseball podcast, so much fun with Jerry Coleman and just talking shop.
It's the first time anyone in history has ever said that sentence. That's the first time that combination of words has ever been uttered by any human being. So much fun with Jerry Coleman. No one has ever said that. Unless they were talking about a man in San Diego. No one has ever said that before.
Here we go, then, man. Yeah, this is how we got to be right now, okay? Because I'm going to compare Coleman to the Orioles this year, all right?
Oh, boy.
Now, do we want to enjoy the rest of the season or not? We got to suck it up a little bit.
Apropos.
And I think we have to kind of look at this team, to be honest with you, as a team that, is just like the rest of them. And how are they going to separate themselves? That's it, man. Because I think they have talent. I think they have more talent than most of these freaking brutal teams in the American League. I really do. And if they can put just a little bit more together, they're going to find themselves in the postseason. And I think it's going to be interesting, really interesting to see what happens over the next, what is it, a little over a month before the trade deadline. Because a lot of teams are in the same boat, man, and I think it's up for grabs, to be honest with you.
Well, as you allude to, obviously, the Orioles went 4-5 on the West Coast, and they're a game closer to the playoffs than they were when the trip started, which is just sort of a wild look.
I'm telling you, man,
Mike,
it's so bizarre.
What you said in there is inherently true, which is that the way that we've kind of described it, our friend Stan the Fan said, the whole is lesser than the sum of the parts. Like, it's really difficult to make sense of why this team has been so, wildly inconsistent to bad, because you're right. The players are better than this. We know that. And, what happened the other day is a game that 9.99 times out of 10, you have to win that game, and yet somehow you end up losing that game. How do we make sense of it? Because it gets to it. The managers have changed. Lots of things have changed, and yet this type of stuff is still happening, and they're still not even living up to the, again, whole of the pieces that they have.
So I don't know, man. It's hard to put a finger on it, and of course, I could go old school and talk about just the lack of all the defensive preparation, and I really do think it has legitimately been lacking with a lot of teams that went all in on analytics. I just think through just holistically, they have started just forgetting about the importance of defense, about base running, about situational baseball. And I'm going to tell you right now, I witnessed it. I witnessed them pulling away from situational baseball when Brandon Hyde was there. And this was not a Brandon Hyde call. Because I remember standing there with a bunch of coaches saying, wait, we haven't even gone over cutoffs and relays. And it was like the third week of spring training. We haven't even gone over bunt plays the whole spring training. I'm telling you, that kind of stuff, it just doesn't matter. Bat speed, arm speed, that's what matters. And that's where the game got off track. Now, there's a recognition of that. And it's whoever can recover the soonest is going to pull and emerge away from this pack of below average major league players and just play a little better brand of baseball. Now, they can't develop at the major league level. They're going to try, and they hope. And just because of sheer fear and anxiety of players, hopefully they get better. this kind of stuff is supposed to have been taught in the minor leagues, and it's going to take another couple years. Like the next round of young players, hopefully, that comes through the Orioles system has now all of a sudden been taught baseball. And of course, along with analytics, I'm not shortchanging it, but you got to have both if you want to have a good baseball team. And I think Elias really missed the boat on that. They're trying to play catch up right now, and we're seeing the results of it. Just inconsistency, period. And this, I can't blame everybody because the whole team isn't full of former, guys that came up through this organization. This is systemic in baseball. A lot of players really just don't know the detail and nuance of real, good baseball at the major league level. And I think teams are all of a sudden panicking a little bit to try to find it, because if the Orioles were just a shade better, if, we could talk about all these teams. Can you imagine if the team that they're going to play tonight saved 5 more games, where they'd be in the NL East, right? So, I mean, we could talk about all these teams like that. And I feel like the Orioles just have a better talent base, and they're going to be the team that emerges. Is that me just being an Oriole fan?
Maybe,
because it's hard to say that, really, is after seeing some of these losses.
And that's, I guess, my problem is, like, if this is who they are defensively, then, like, while I know they're more talented than this, aren't they just going to keep doing these things? Like, isn't just going to be their story? Let me ask you, because I'm sure you've talked about and heard, the reports that Cal Ripken has chosen to try to be a little bit more involved. And we've already heard a little bit of pushback. Craig Albernaz said, like, well, I don't know that he's actually out there, like, running drills with the guys. But, like,
right.
Cal obviously quite well. How much could it help solve some of these problems if he truly is more interested and invested and willing to try to work with these guys on the literal fundamentals, these sort of brain fart things that we keep seeing constantly that, to your point, we probably should have learned when we were 13?
Yeah. Well, I think, I don't know that Cal's going to get ready out there on the field. I think Cal obviously loves talking shop. He is really an intellectual when it comes to the game of baseball. I kind of foresee Cal talking to the, head of the minor leagues, Schilt now, that came over. And I think he's got a good baseball background as well. And I can just about imagine him sitting there and saying, listen, my father created the Oriole way along with him and Earl Weaver, and this is what it was. And it was just play the game better than anybody else. And that means run the bases better, catch the ball better. And everybody knows in Oriole history, by the amount of Gold Gloves all those dudes collected over the years, the importance of, defense and what it led to. Just great baseball year in and year out. I don't even know that the Orioles they might have had 1 or 2 losing seasons for a run of about, it seemed like 20 years. But anyway, I mean, that was the foundation of winning baseball. And, I just, as the game evolved here, obviously for Baltimore, things have changed a little bit. But I think if you can get a little bit of a semblance of that, and these guys understanding the importance of an out and the urgency, honestly, of every play at the major league level. If there are 138 pitches thrown, 138 pitches need full and utmost focus. And unfortunately, I don't think, obviously, the Orioles haven't had that. They've had breakdowns. Now, this is a fact, okay? This is human nature. This happened to me at the major league level, and I think it probably happens to every stinking major leaguer. The here we go again effect. When it happens once or twice, and then that next guy comes in, and all of a sudden a guy gets on base or a ball is thrown, psychologically players go, oh no, here we go again. I got to do something to stop it. So they might go talk to the pitcher, or they might, whatever. Either way, there's a distraction of that mentality. Here we go again. And your full focus isn't on the pitch at hand or the play at hand. There is a distraction. And trust me, everything needs ultimate focus at the highest level if you want to be really good. And I'm not saying it's easy, because it happens like that. Listen, I think it was 1998. The Orioles, we had a great team, and they tried something different, and the Orioles bullpen brought Mike Timlin in, and I think 10 saves in a row were blown.
Yeah.
And I just remember sitting out there short going, oh my God,
it's happening again.
Here we go again, just feeling it. Yeah. And just that negativity kind of manifested a run of losing, and it happens. And if you get more than one guy think of that, which I think the Orioles have it, how about the Nats? Do you think they have it right now
No
after
question.
the weekend they just put together? Holy cow!
No question about it. No question. And it's self-fulfilling prophecy. I get that. And you somehow you've got to go win 4 games in a row. You got to go do something like that you haven't done before.
It's going to take a player. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
All last year, I was hoping, okay, one guy's got to take charge. And I was blowing the trumpet thinking that Adley was somehow going to miraculously take the turn and be that team leader again. And he just couldn't bounce back, whether it been injuries or whatever. I honestly think that if Gunnar found any kind of hot streak, this whole team would, I don't know, they'd just say, all right, now we can go. Because I feel like they're waiting on Gunnar to find consistency to some point. Now, will he find it? I don't know. I'm not too dissatisfied with what Gunnar's doing. He's got good power numbers. He's going to give you everything he's got, it seems, every night. But if he just got a little bit hotter, it may help that. It may help that because, okay, we can overcome now. There isn't going to be any more of this, what's going to happen next. We got Gunnar back, so let's roll, boys. And I just feel like they're close. Don't they show signs of that at times? I mean, I feel it. And then all of a sudden the wheels fall off and they feel like the worst team in baseball.
Well, I mean, their pitching gets hot, and then you start to buy in because the pitching's hot, and the pitching's been hot. But then they figure out ways to lose games that they just have no business losing. He's Mike Bordick. He's with us here on GCR. Mike, you bring up Adley Rutschman. All of a sudden, there's been a real conversation about really, I think it's twofold. One, what if they don't get things figured out? What if the wheels come further off? And then I think a bigger conversation about, and if you're not going to sign Adley Rutschman, then maybe do you need to think about moving him now while he's been performing and you can sell him with a year and a half of control instead of holding on to him and being in a similar position a year from now? What do you make of all of that conversation and where the Orioles are with Adley Rutschman and their ability to try to win a World Series while he's still wearing orange and black?
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? I think Mike Elias is going to try to save face as long as he can with taking Adley Rutschman over Bobby Witt Jr., and I think on to him. And I wouldn't blame him. I think Adley's a really good major league player. I love how he handles the staff. We've seen, is he going to be a flash in the pan star? We saw him do some pretty good things for a couple years, and now there's some inconsistencies, and he's kind of up and down right now offensively, although it does feel like he's kind of back. But my gosh, now he keeps getting hurt again, so needed to get him on the field. Listen, I'm an Adley fan, and like I said, I think if Elias trades Rutschman, he's waving the white flag, man. I really do think he's going to hold on and try to keep him around. It is going to be interesting. I don't know how many suitors you're going to have for Rutschman, although there is some attraction as a switch hitter. I know there are some teams that need a catcher right now. I expect them to hold on to him, and I also expect the Orioles to not be as aggressive as we'd all hope. I think if they're going to be aggressive at the trade line, certainly they have to entertain a lot of different things. But I hope they go after a bullpen and just stockpile the back end of a bullpen, because in my opinion, and I think coming into this year, that was everybody's concern, and here it is showing up, man, right when we need them most. So finding consistency at the back end is going to be the key.
I think the question that people would ask on the flip side is it worth it to be? Like, where would they need to be to justify being aggressive? Because I get it, as you point out, they're only a game and a half outside the playoffs, but it's really hard to squint and look at this team like they're a team that can actually do damage if they were to get into the postseason. Where would they need to be to justify selling or the buying and getting rid of assets to try to add?
Well, I don't know, man, but who are you looking at are teams that we got to beat? Seriously,
Yeah.
Listen, there are so many bad. The Rays. Do you think the Rays are a great team in the American League East?
I mean, the Orioles kind of prove that.
They're just as bad as anybody else.
Right.
They are as inconsistent and unsteady defensively. They've got a couple hot hitters, but they're inconsistent top to bottom, man. Everybody's in the same boat. The Yankees, I mean, there are times I just wonder how the heck can they win? And all of a sudden, if their young pitchers start getting hit around, like Schlittler did last night by the Red Sox, are you kidding me? Everybody's going to kind of stumble back, man. And so I don't know that there are any guarantees. The best team's going to be the Dodgers, period. So
Right.
if you could beat the Dodgers, and the Orioles showed really well against the Dodgers, you know, they were high energy. I thought they could have swept and probably should have swept the Dodgers. And I'm not saying they're better than the Dodgers right now, but this year, more than ever, get in. And if you get a hot couple pitchers and a solid bullpen, you can make a run. And if a couple of these Oriole hitters get going, if Gunnar all of a sudden says, all right, I'm going to be really good again the second half of this season, let's be optimistic and say, okay, Trevor Rogers has found something and he can go on a nice run. Brandon Young arguably could be the Orioles' only representative at the All-Star game. Look at what he's done. He turned into last year's Trevor Rogers, and he's as consistent as anybody. Bradish is showing the most incredible signs of brilliance his last few outings. So that's got to make you feel warm and fuzzy. And you also got to think about some guys coming back off the IL. Where's Dean Kramer going to go? Where's Cade Povich going to go? Where's Trey Gibson going to go? That tells me that the bullpen just got a hell of a lot stronger. And if you want to save Bradish, you could start piggybacking a little bit the second half. There better be some innovation. Okay, that's it. You got to be creative and you got to be innovative and find a way to be better than these other trash teams in the American League.
Oh boy, yeah, I've had that conversation with a few people that maybe they consider the six man or the piggyback or something like that because the innings thing is still real for Bradish and like just pretending it isn't because he's had two really good starts and they've been really good, but that is still a real factor they have to deal with. My last one for you, Mike, if I could phrase it this way, because I feel like for a lot of Orioles fans, there's an esoteric factor to this. Like, they want to see guys more pissed off. Like, and you and I have joked before, managers aren't allowed to come in and throw the bats around anymore, right? Like, that we're past that era of baseball. Managers are barely allowed to do anything anymore. But, like, should we want to see these guys more visibly angry, more visibly pissed off, or is it better? This is the nature of baseball. You have to go play another game the next day. You can't allow these things to get to you. It is better that they remain even keel. What do you make of that conversation?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think, well, what are you? Are you a competitor or are you just a playing card? You know, and I think, unfortunately, with the advent of analytics, they think every player is a playing card, and they're trying to really avoid conflict on the baseball field. But the fact of the matter is, this is competition, baby. And if you don't think that guy across the way is trying to take food off your plate or a better contract, you're mistaken. So you got to find a way to be a competitor. And I don't know if they're just chasing the numbers, okay? Like, they come out of there with an 0 for 4, but my bat speed was 78 miles an hour each swing. Best I've ever done. Well, who gives a crap? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Did you go out there and compete to try to win a ball game? So it's that competition. Where is the fire and edge? And here is where it is. Listen, man, and I don't want to sound, okay, I'm going to sound however I sound. Alvernet's a young manager. He's trying to find his way too. This is a young team, this and that. They are going to take on the persona of their manager, period. And if they got a big, hairy manager, an old guy that's been through the wars, and he went out on the field after Gunnar Henderson got hit the third time and went towards the dugout, the opponent's dugout, like what should have happened, to stand up to the player and say, you guys just screwed up. And the next day, maybe hit two of their guys and say, whatever you want, boys, let's go. That kind of attitude is what's going to get every player in the dugout thinking a little bit differently. You cannot be passive up there because people will take full advantage, especially a competitive team at the highest level. And hopefully there are those teams left. It does seem a little stale from a competitive standpoint, but yeah, get an edge. Why not? You know, throw it out there and see what happens, because it's those dudes, man, that come up all bloody and dirty. Listen, we all love Gunnar. Yeah, we want him to pull it back sometimes because it looks a little immature at times. But man, oh man, if they all had their hair on fire like that, had that kind of passion, things might be a little bit crazy. You know what I'm saying? So in a good way, that kind of fire and just competitive drive is what it's really all about. And a guy's got to find it, and they may just get a little bit more out of themselves if they do.
I appreciate all that. Bordy, what's the most important thing that we can plug?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'll tell you right now. I know Jerry's going to be upset if I don't plug the podcast first, but I am going to always plug my...
Why do we care about Jerry? Why do we care, Mike?
All right, then. I'm going to plug my nonprofit, the League of Dreams. Check it out, leagueofdreams.org, man. Doing so many good things with our special needs community and sports. We're doing STEM now, too. We just put a STEM center in at Hillcrest in Catonsville at an elementary school. We're impacting over 500 kids, man. So check it out, man, and help if you can, because that's all we want to do is help as many kids in this area as we possibly can. And, of course, the Be More Baseball podcast, we always got good guests on there. And recently we had Trey Mancini. Yeah. We all love Trey, right? So we're always pulling for him. And he's such an incredible story and so inspiring for all of us. So check that one out as well.
Bordy, love you, brother. Always appreciate you. Thanks for doing it, man. We'll talk soon, all right?
You got it, man. Anytime.
Thanks, buddy. Mike Bordick with us here on GCR. Appreciate it.